There is a quiet truth that too many of us overlook. The treasure we seek is already within us. Imagine a traveler setting out on a grand journey, searching for a pearl of great price. He crosses mountains, braves deserts, and faces storms, only to return home and discover the pearl was in his pocket all along. So it is with us. The strength we long for, the grace we admire in others, and the purpose we yearn to uncover have been woven into our very being from the beginning. It is not arrogance to believe this, it is humility. For to recognize one's inner worth is to acknowledge the handiwork of the Creator. You were not formed haphazardly or thoughtlessly. There is intention in the way you were made, a kind of deliberate artistry that reflects the very nature of divine creativity. You are not merely a collection of flaws and failures, as the voice of doubt would have you believe. Nor are you a blank canvas waiting to be painted by the opinions of others. You are, in your essence, whole imperfect, but whole, unfinished yet full of possibility. The tragedy is that we often bury this truth beneath layers of insecurity, comparing ourselves to others as though we were objects to be measured. But comparison blinds us to the uniqueness of our own design. Just as no two stars shine alike, your light is distinct, and it was meant to shine in its own way. To recognize this is not to boast, it is to give thanks. If you are to bless yourself, you must first stop looking outward for validation. The applause of the crowd, the accumulation of possessions, the fleeting approval of others, all these are shadows. They vanish with the setting sun. But the worth within you does not depend on such things. It is steady, unchanging, and eternal, like the foundation of a mountain. Ask yourself this when you stand in silence, when the noise of the world fades away, what remains? If you listen closely, you will hear it, the quiet, persistent truth that you are loved, that you are enough, and that you are made for more than survival. This truth is not earned by effort or undone by failure. It simply is, and it is yours to claim. Blessing yourself begins here, in the simple yet profound act of recognizing what has been within you all along. When you see your worth not as a thing to be built or bought, but as a gift to be honored, you begin to walk in the light for which you were created. This is where the journey begins, not in seeking, but in seeing. Imagine for a moment that you could see yourself through the eyes of the one who created you, not as the flawed, struggling creature you often think you are, but as a being of immense potential and purpose. What would change in the way you live your life? What would shift if you understood deeply and without doubt that you are neither an accident nor a disappointment, but a masterpiece in progress? We are far too quick to see ourselves as small, unworthy, or incomplete. We measure ourselves against the impossible standards of a world that thrives on comparison and competition. We stand before the mirror and see only the surface, the imperfections, the lines, the flaws that whisper of failure. But the truth, the deep and eternal truth, is far beyond the surface. It lies in the soul, in the essence of who you are, crafted with care and love by the hands of one who makes no mistakes. To see yourself rightly is not to puff yourself up with pride, nor is it to deny your weaknesses. It is to stand in humble awe of what has been given to you, a life, a spirit, a purpose uniquely yours. Just as an artist pours their heart into a canvas, so too has the Creator poured his heart into you. Every line, every shade, every detail of your being was chosen with care, not randomly, but with the deliberate intent of one who sees not just what you are now, but what you can become. You are more than the sum of your successes or failures. Your worth does not hinge on your achievements or the approval of others. Instead, it is grounded in the unchanging truth that you were made in love and for love. To bless yourself is to embrace this reality, to let go of the lies that tell you you're not enough, and to step into the light of your true identity. But this vision is not automatic. It requires a choice to turn away from the distorted reflections offered by the world and instead seek the clarity of divine perspective. It means looking beyond your fears and doubts, beyond the labels others have placed on you, and seeing yourself as you truly are beloved, cherished, and capable of extraordinary things. When you bless yourself by seeing yourself in this light, you unlock a courage and confidence that no hardship can shake. You begin to walk taller, not because you are better than others, but because you finally understand that you are no less. And from this place of understanding, you can bless others too, becoming a mirror that reflects their own worth back to them. So ask yourself, what would it mean to see yourself as you were meant to be seen? Not with the critical eyes of the world, but with the loving gaze of the one who knows you fully. This is where the blessing begins, in the clarity of knowing you are enough because you are His. Blessings are not treasures you must earn, nor are they rewards bestowed only on the deserving. They are gifts already given, truths waiting to be claimed. Yet so often we live as though we are standing outside a locked door, pleading for entry, unaware that the key has been in our hands all along. To bless yourself is not to demand what is beyond your reach, it is to embrace what has already been placed within your grasp. Think of a river flowing quietly through a valley. The river does not ask for permission to exist, nor does it strive to prove its worth. It simply flows, nourished by its source and offering life to all it touches. In the same way, the blessings within you are not dependent on your performance or your perfection. They are there because of the love that brought you into being, the same love that sustains you even when you falter. Too often, we look outside ourselves for validation, chasing after recognition or achievements to prove our value. But this search is like chasing the horizon, always just out of reach. The truth is far simpler and more profound. The blessings you seek are already yours. They are not found in the applause of others or the accumulation of possessions, but in the quiet assurance that you are seen, known, and loved just as you are. Claiming these blessings does not mean ignoring your flaws or pretending life is without hardship. It means understanding that your worth is not diminished by your struggles. Even when you stumble, even when you doubt, the blessings remain. They are not fragile, nor are they conditional. They are as steadfast as the sunrise, as constant as the rhythm of the tides. But to claim them requires a choice to turn away from the voice of fear and embrace the voice of truth. Fear will tell you that you are not enough, that you must do more, achieve more, be more to earn the right to be blessed. But the truth whispers something far different. It reminds you that you are already enough, that the blessings are not a reward but a reality. When you bless yourself by claiming this truth, something remarkable happens. You begin to live not from a place of scarcity, but from a place of abundance. You stop striving to prove your worth and start living as someone who knows their worth. And in doing so, you become a blessing to others, a reminder to them that they too are loved, that they too are enough. So, take hold of what is already yours, not with pride but with gratitude, not with hesitation but with confidence. The blessings are not far away, nor are they reserved for someone else. They are here, now, within you. All you must do is open your heart and claim them. Forgiveness is one of the most profound ways to bless yourself, and yet it is often the most difficult. We carry our past mistakes like heavy stones, dragging them behind us as though they define who we are. We replay moments of failure, words spoken in anger, choices made in weakness, and we let them whisper lies about our worth. But what if I told you that the power to set yourself free has always been within your grasp? What if blessing yourself begins with laying down those stones and stepping into the grace that is already waiting for you? Forgiving yourself is not about excusing what has been done. It is not a denial of your shortcomings or an attempt to erase the past. Rather, it is the recognition that you are more than the sum of your mistakes. To hold on to guilt as if it were a penance to be paid is to miss the point entirely. You were never meant to live in the shadow of your regrets. The gift of forgiveness exists so you can learn, grow, and move forward, not so you can be trapped in a cycle of shame. Think of a garden choked by weeds. The weeds may seem overwhelming, but beneath them, the soil still holds the potential for life. When you forgive yourself, you clear away those weeds, making room for new growth. The process may not be easy. It requires honesty, the courage to face your failures, and the humility to accept that you are not perfect. But it also requires the faith to believe that perfection was never the goal. Growth is, redemption is, and these are always within reach. The hardest part of forgiving yourself is often the feeling that you don't deserve it. You may think, if only I had been stronger, wiser, kinder, then I wouldn't have made that mistake, but consider this: the same love that created you knew you would stumble, and yet it created you anyway. This love is not deterred by your imperfections, it is magnified by your willingness to rise above them. When you forgive yourself, you honor the truth that your failures do not define you. They are chapters in your story, not the whole book. Each mistake is an opportunity to grow in compassion, not only for others, but for yourself. And as you extend that compassion inward, you unlock a strength you never knew you had the strength to move forward unburdened by the past. Forgiving yourself is not an act of weakness, it is an act of courage. It is the willingness to let go of the chains you have wrapped around your own heart. And as you release those chains, you discover that forgiveness is not only freedom, it is power. The power to bless yourself with a fresh start, to see yourself not as broken but as becoming. So let go of the stones you carry. Lay them down, not because you have forgotten what they represent, but because you have chosen to learn from them. Bless yourself by forgiving yourself, and watch as the garden of your life begins to bloom anew. In life, there will always be moments of darkness, times when the weight of sorrow feels unbearable, when hope seems like a distant star, and when joy feels like an illusion. Yet it is in these very moments that the most profound blessing you can give yourself is the choice to seek joy and hold on to hope. This is not a denial of pain or a refusal to acknowledge the struggles you face. It is an act of defiance against despair. It is the quiet, powerful decision to believe that even in the deepest shadows, light still exists. Joy is not the same as fleeting happiness. Happiness depends on circumstances. It ebbs and flows like the tides, rising with success and retreating with hardship. But joy is something deeper, something unshakable. It is the assurance that even when life is hard, there is still beauty to be found, still meaning to be uncovered, and still love to be given and received. Hope, too, is not a naive optimism that ignores reality. Hope is the belief that the story is not over, that the page you are on is not the final one. It is the conviction that what you see now is only part of the picture, and that something better, something greater, is yet to come. Choosing joy and hope does not mean ignoring your pain. It means refusing to let pain define you. It means looking for the small, quiet gifts that life offers even in the midst of suffering: a kind word, a moment of beauty, a reminder that you are not alone. These glimpses of light may seem insignificant, but they are the threads that weave a lifeline, pulling you back toward the truth of who you are and what you are capable of becoming. There is strength in joy, not because it denies hardship, but because it transcends it. And there is courage in hope, not because it guarantees an easy path, but because it dares to believe in the possibility of redemption. When you bless yourself with joy and hope, you are not simply surviving, you are choosing to live fully, even in the face of challenges. This choice is not always easy. It requires faith, a faith that the darkness will not last forever, that the pain you feel now is shaping you into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who can rise above the storm. It requires gratitude not for the hardship itself, but for the lessons it teaches and the resilience it builds. And it requires a willingness to open your heart to the possibility that joy and hope are not just dreams, they are realities waiting to be embraced. So when life feels heavy, when the night seems endless, bless yourself by choosing joy. Find it in the laughter of a friend, the beauty of a sunrise, or the quiet peace of a moment spent in reflection. And hold on to hope, not as a wish, but as a certainty that brighter days lie ahead. In doing so, you will discover that even in the hardest of times, you have the power to bless yourself with a light that no darkness can extinguish. There is a mystery about light. It does not fight for attention, nor does it seek to overpower. A single candle can brighten an entire room, not because it demands to be seen, but because it simply fulfills its purpose. When you bless yourself, you become like that light, quietly but powerfully illuminating the lives of others, not by trying to be something extraordinary, but by being exactly what you were meant to be. The blessings you give yourself are never meant to stay within. They overflow naturally, spilling into the lives of those around you. This is the paradox of true blessing. The more you pour it out, the more it fills you. But this is not something you achieve through effort or force. It is the result of living authentically, of accepting your worth and embracing the gifts that are already within you. Think of a tree planted by a stream. It does not strain to grow, it simply draws from the water and reaches toward the light. In doing so, it becomes a shelter for birds, a source of fruit for the hungry, and a place of shade for the weary. It blesses others simply by being what it was created to be. And so it is with you. When you bless yourself, when you recognize your value, forgive your mistakes, and live with purpose, you become a source of life and light for those around you. This is not about striving for recognition or seeking to impress. It is about letting the goodness within you shine naturally. When you speak words of kindness, when you show compassion, when you extend grace to others, you are passing on the blessings you have claimed for yourself. And the beauty of this is that it requires no grand gestures. A smile, a listening ear, a small act of generosity, these are the ways in which your light touches others. But to bless others, you must first bless yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup, nor can you give what you have not yet claimed. When you see your own worth, you are able to recognize the worth of others. When you forgive yourself, you find it easier to forgive those who have hurt you. And when you live with joy and hope, you inspire others to do the same. This is the quiet power of a life well lived. It is not about perfection, but about authenticity. It is not about having all the answers, but about walking with faith and love. As your light grows brighter, it will draw others toward their own blessings, not because you have demanded it, but because they will see in you a reflection of what is possible for them. So bless yourself, and let that blessing overflow. Live as a beacon, not by trying to be extraordinary, but by simply being the best version of who you already are. In doing so, you will discover that the light you carry is not diminished by sharing it. On the contrary, it grows stronger, spreading farther, touching more lives than you can ever imagine. There is a dangerous trap that many of us fall into, a trap that binds us with invisible chains and leaves us always reaching, never satisfied. It is the trap of seeking validation from the world, of measuring our worth by standards that were never meant to define us. The world is full of voices that will tell you that you are only as valuable as your possessions, your achievements, or the praise of others. It tells you that your worth lies in how you compare to those around you, in how much you accumulate or how much you accomplish. But this is a lie, one that leads only to emptiness and self-doubt. To bless yourself, you must learn to let go of these false definitions of worth. You must free yourself from the constant comparison, the measuring stick that never stops moving. The truth is that your worth is not contingent on what you have or what you do. It is rooted in something far deeper, something that is intrinsic to who you are as a person, something that no amount of success or failure can touch. Think of the way a masterpiece is valued. A painting is not more valuable because it is praised by critics, nor is it worth less because it is not displayed in the grandest galleries. Its worth is inherent in its creation, in the artist's intention, and in the beauty it brings into the world. So too is your worth inherent in who you are. You do not need to prove it. You do not need to earn it. It is already there, waiting for you to recognize it. When you stop measuring yourself against the fleeting standards of the world, you free yourself to live authentically. You no longer live for the approval of others or the accumulation of things. You live because you know that you are enough, just as you are. This knowledge does not lead to arrogance or complacency. On the contrary, it leads to peace. When you are no longer striving to prove your worth, you can simply be. You can focus on what truly matters, on your relationships, your growth, your service to others. To bless yourself is to stop defining yourself by the world's standards and start defining yourself by the only standard that truly matters, the one set by the Creator. Your worth is not determined by how others see you, by how much you have, or by how much you accomplish. It is determined by the simple, unshakable fact that you are loved, that you are enough, and that you were created for a purpose. The moment you accept this truth, you are free. You are free to stop seeking approval from those who cannot see your true value. You are free to stop comparing yourself to those who walk a different path. And you are free to step into the life you were meant to live, not one driven by the expectations of others, but one rooted in the confidence of knowing you are already enough. So release the need for external validation. Stop chasing after things that will never satisfy your soul. Embrace your worth as it is complete, unearned, and unshakable. In doing so, you will find that the freedom to be yourself is the greatest blessing you can give to yourself, and it will allow you to live fully and authentically, no longer enslaved by the ever-moving measure of the world. One of the most profound and yet often overlooked truths is that we are all capable of changing, not in the sense of becoming someone else, but in the sense of growing into the fullest expression of who we were always meant to be. Change is not something to be feared or resisted, as we sometimes do. It is not a threat to our identity, but a path to deeper self-awareness, to greater strength, and to fuller purpose. Change is, in fact, one of the greatest blessings you can give yourself. We often look at our flaws or our circumstances and feel trapped. We convince ourselves that we are defined by our past, by the things we have done, by the mistakes we have made, or by the labels others have placed upon us. But this is only part of the story. Who you are now is not the sum of your failures or your limitations. It is only the beginning of what you are becoming. Growth is not always easy. It involves discomfort, stretching beyond what is familiar, and sometimes confronting parts of ourselves that we would rather ignore. But growth is also the key to blessing yourself. For when you allow yourself the grace to change, when you embrace the idea that you can learn, adapt, and transform, you open the door to possibilities you may never have thought possible. Change requires you to see beyond your present self and recognize the potential within you. It is not about achieving perfection, but about embracing the journey of becoming better than you were yesterday. It means accepting that you will make mistakes along the way, and instead of allowing them to define you, you allow them to refine you. You learn from them, you grow from them, and you continue moving forward. This is the essence of blessing yourself, not in waiting for the world to change around you, but in taking ownership of your own transformation. It is a process of self-discovery, a willingness to confront the shadows within and choose to walk toward the light. When you embrace change, you choose to see yourself not as a finished product, but as a work in progress. You cease to be defined by your shortcomings, and instead you begin to view them as stepping stones on the path to something greater. You stop clinging to old versions of yourself that no longer serve you, and you step into a new identity, one that is constantly evolving, constantly growing, and constantly moving toward its true potential. This act of blessing yourself through change is an act of trust. It is trusting that you are capable of more than you think, that there is a deeper strength within you, and that your life is not bound by yesterday's failures, but shaped by the choices you make today. It is knowing that the person you are becoming is more aligned with your true purpose, your true nature, and your true potential. So embrace change. Do not fear it or fight it, but welcome it as the invitation to become more fully yourself. Allow it to bless you by leading you to greater freedom, greater wisdom, and greater fulfillment. For it is through change that we grow, and in growing we discover the blessings that lie hidden within us, waiting to be revealed. To bless yourself is to acknowledge the importance of rest and renewal. In a world that demands constant productivity and often glorifies exhaustion, we are often made to believe that our worth is tied to how much we do, how much we achieve, how tirelessly we strive. Yet in this relentless pursuit of success, we often lose sight of the fact that we are not machines. We are human beings, intricately designed not only for labor but for rest, for reflection, and for moments of stillness where the soul can catch its breath. Rest is not a luxury, it is a necessity. The very fabric of your being requires it. Just as a tree cannot bear fruit without first drawing sustenance from the soil, so too must you pause to renew your strength, to replenish the well of your spirit. When you fail to rest, you risk depleting yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically, and in doing so, you deny yourself the ability to bless others, because you have nothing left to give. There is wisdom in the rhythm of rest. It is not idle, but restorative. It is not a retreat from the world, but a preparation for engagement with it. When you rest, you allow yourself the space to reflect, to regain clarity, and to rekindle the passions that may have dimmed in the face of constant busyness. Rest grants you perspective. It reminds you that you are more than your tasks, that your value does not rest solely in what you accomplish. It reconnects you with the deeper truths of your being, allowing you to return to life with a renewed sense of purpose and energy. Rest is not simply physical, it is mental and spiritual as well. It is the time you give yourself to slow your thoughts, to meditate, to pray, to listen to the quiet voice that speaks within you. In this stillness, you rediscover the source of your strength, the reason behind your striving. You are reminded that you were created for more than the noise and the rush of daily life. You were created to live in harmony, to balance effort with reflection, work with rest, action with contemplation. Many will tell you that to rest is to waste time, that it is an indulgence or an escape from responsibility. But in truth, rest is the very foundation of effective living. Without it, you will eventually burn out, your work will lose its meaning, and your relationships will begin to fray. But when you honor rest, when you bless yourself with the quiet spaces needed to restore your mind and heart, you are not avoiding life, but preparing to live it more fully. So, take time to rest without guilt, without the sense that you are neglecting something more important. You are not being lazy, you are being wise. You are not avoiding the world, you are returning to it with greater strength and purpose. In resting, you will find that you are able to bless yourself by becoming more aligned with the rhythms of life, where work and rest, striving and stillness, are not opposing forces but two sides of the same coin. And in this balance, you will discover the energy to live not just for the moment, but for a lifetime. There is a great truth that many overlook in their pursuit of success and achievement. The life that is truly blessed is the life that is rooted in service to others. We are often taught to look inward, to focus on our own desires, and to measure our worth by what we have accomplished or acquired. But the real blessing comes not in what we gain for ourselves, but in what we give to others, for in giving we receive. In serving, we are served. True fulfillment, the kind that transcends fleeting happiness, comes when we step beyond our own needs and open our hearts to the needs of those around us. When we choose to bless others, whether through acts of kindness, a listening ear, or a helping hand, we discover that the blessings we give are often the ones that bless us the most. There is a depth to life that cannot be reached through self-centered pursuits. It is only when we live for something greater than ourselves that we find the fullness of joy, peace, and meaning. This is not a call to abandon your own needs or to neglect your own growth. It is not about martyrdom or sacrificing yourself for others. It is about recognizing that the act of giving is also an act of receiving. When you bless others, you open yourself to the richness of human connection. You become part of something larger than your own existence, and in doing so, you find that your life has greater purpose and depth. Think of a river. It flows freely, its waters carrying life to everything in its path. But the river does not keep its waters to itself. It allows them to flow outward, nourishing the land, the plants, the animals, and the people. In doing so, the river does not lose its strength, rather, it gains it as its waters spread life far and wide. So it is with you. The more you give of yourself, the more you serve, the more you serve, the more you share, the more you are filled with the very things that give life meaning. In serving others, you also serve yourself by expanding the boundaries of your heart. You are no longer confined to the small, self-contained world of your own wants and needs. You are drawn into the shared experience of humanity, where the suffering and joys of others become a mirror to your own. In this, you find a deeper connection, a greater understanding, and a more profound sense of purpose. This is not about grand gestures or extraordinary feats. It is the small, everyday acts of love and care that make the greatest difference. A word of encouragement to someone in need, a smile to brighten someone's day, the willingness to listen when someone needs to speak. These are the simple ways in which you bless others and in turn bless yourself. In serving others, you discover the true measure of a blessed life, one that is not centered around accumulating wealth, accolades, or power, but around the richness of relationships, the depth of compassion, and the beauty of shared humanity. When you bless others, you unlock the door to a life of fulfillment, for in giving, you find the very thing that makes life worth living: connection, meaning, and love. In the end, the greatest blessing you can give yourself is the courage to embrace who you truly are, the wisdom to recognize your inherent worth, and the grace to live a life of purpose, free from the weight of unnecessary expectations. The world will try to convince you that your value lies in what you do or what you have, but the truest blessing comes from understanding that your worth is intrinsic, unshakable, and cannot be diminished by the shifting tides of success or failure. When you choose to bless yourself, you choose to live authentically. You choose to seek joy and hope even in the darkest of times, to recognize that growth comes from embracing change, and to understand that rest is not a weakness but a necessity for renewal. You choose to release the need for external validation and instead place your trust in the truth that you are enough, just as you are. And above all, you choose to bless others, knowing that in doing so, you open yourself to the fullness of life's deepest treasures. Blessing yourself is not about achieving perfection or success by worldly standards. It is about living with intention, with kindness, and with a heart open to both receiving and giving love. It is about making peace with your past, trusting in your journey, and walking with the quiet confidence that no external measure can ever define. So I urge you, take this truth with you. You are not defined by what you do or by what others think of you. You are defined by your capacity to love, to grow, and to embrace the full potential of who you are. Bless yourself by choosing to live with authenticity, to rest with purpose, to serve others with joy, and to walk through life with the unshakable belief that you are already enough. And in doing so, you will discover that the more you bless yourself, the more you are able to bless the world around you. For in the end, the true blessing is not just the life you live, but the lives you touch along the way.